Hi, I'm Morgan.
And I'm Jake, and this is
Neverland Navigation Radio.
where we barely wait in line for some rides at Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just can't handle a line.
Yeah, sometimes you need that low wait time.
Right.
Get
Or
in.
you've got some time in between if you're doing multi-pass and your dinner reservation. You need a no line, fun thing to do.
Yes, it's always good when you're at a park to have a couple low wait time experiences up your sleeve to help fill out that schedule when you need it.
And as locals, we do a lot of these a lot.
Yeah, these are some of our favorites because, we're generally not waiting 3 hours in a line for stuff.
Yeah.
So these are good old go-tos.
Mm-hmm.
I adore low wait time rides. There are some rides that have been low wait time, but are no longer low wait time, like the People Mover.
I know.
Really stands out.
It really, really is unfortunate that we couldn't put that on the list because it's my favorite. I would call it my favorite low wait time ride, except for it's not anymore.
Yeah. R.I.P. the low wait times of the People Mover. That was probably that would have been number one, I think, if it were still low wait time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, some of these have kind of crept up over the years.
Uh-huh. And it's weird because nothing's really changed except for people have learned to appreciate it. And I guess the parks are busier.
Yes, right.
But then some of them are low wait time because they're not great.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that a little.
Oh, yeah, we'll get into that. Some of these deserve to be low wait time.
Yeah.
Some of them, maybe not so much. Before we dive into the list, though, we did want to say thank you so much for listening. If you're on a listening platform like Apple Podcasts and Spotify, you could leave a review. That helps the show out a ton. Would do a lot for us, and also we love reading them. And if you would like to check out the video version of the show over on our YouTube channel, Neverland Navigation Co., we post a full video version of the podcast every single week. So come say hello on the YouTube version, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and thank you so much for supporting the show.
Absolutely. And if you are thinking about taking a Disney trip or a Universal trip or a cruise vacation, really any kind of vacation, before you book it or right after, please send me an email at neverlandnavigationco@gmail.com, because having me as a travel agent means you get the same deal as if you booked it yourself or better. And I do free deal monitoring for you so that if a better deal comes along before your trip, I can switch you and save you some money, and you get free trip t-shirts. So there's a lot of perks for you, and you don't pay me, the company pays me. So, win-win.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. There's no downsides to planning with a travel agent. So it would definitely be a wise decision in my opinion. Something that I would say really makes or breaks trips is planning, of course, like you help people with when you're helping plan their vacations. And knowing what is going to eat up a huge chunk of your day.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing that can ruin a vacation day faster than unexpectedly spending all of your time waiting for something that you didn't necessarily plan on spending all that time waiting for.
Right.
So those are good to know ahead of time, but it's also good to know what you can ride when, you just need to pop in a quick little 15-minute ride experience, have a low wait time, get in, get out. Those are pleasant.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Some of the things on here that are might give you that low wait time experience are actually the shows at Walt Disney World. A lot of them have posted wait time, so you can really feel out when a show time is going to work best for you. We do recommend arriving a little bit early to shows to make sure that you get into the seating if it's a busy day and that you don't get kind of left out in the rain, so to speak.
Yes, and another important thing to note is a lot of shows, if not all, well, I'm just going to say a lot of the shows end earlier than you think.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of times that we've said on our way to Animal Kingdom, we should see the Nemo show today, and then we get there and they're done for the whole day.
Yeah.
They stop at the last show today was 2:30.
I think so.
Was it anyway?
Maybe.
So it's just something that you've got to kind of plan for.
Absolutely.
This is true in all of the parks, not just Animal Kingdom. So
yeah, you definitely want to pay attention to your show times. And then sometimes the shows run on like a rotating basis all day long,
Mhm.
and those are pretty much always guaranteed to be low wait time because they're filling, the auditorium quickly, getting through the short show, and then moving on. So a couple of things from there are the Enchanted Tiki Room, always guaranteed kind of a low wait there.
Oh, yep. Also, Carousel of Progress is one of our go-tos.
Yes.
That one, I've never waited.
Right.
I mean, you wait until it's your turn to load,
Couple
but
minutes,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's it.
Nothing crazy. The Country Bear Musical Jamboree.
Hmm.
That's pretty much guaranteed a low wait time because the show is pretty short.
And the new version is cute. We
Yes.
recommend it.
Very cute. They've put some Disney songs in there, but it's very much still in the spirit of the original.
And it's still funny.
Yes. Still a very good time.
I don't even want to name this next one, because this is for you. So I'll just say there's also the shows at the Epcot World Showcase.
Yes.
The films.
Those films are always they're always low wait time, and I find that not a ton of people do them.
Right.
But they're a good way to soak up some AC at the very least. And then, of course, there's Muppet Vision 3D, which actually can have a bit of a long pre-show if you don't time it correctly. But
it's in air conditioning. It's funny.
yeah, it's a good time. It deserves a spot on the list. And then we also have one more show here that we recommend.
Yes, and actually I've got another one to add that I just thought of after that.
Okay.
So PhilharMagic is the one that Jake was talking about. PhilharMagic is probably my favorite show.
Yeah, I love PhilharMagic.
Yeah, it's got the 3D and all of the classic songs, and it just makes me happy.
Yes.
Very nostalgic, especially if you grew up in the 90s. It's got a lot of those 90s, or grew up with those songs regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Pixar short film festival type, is it festival?
Yes.
The Pixar short films that they show at Epcot, that's always the same situation where you can walk in there, and I think it's cute.
Yeah, it is cute.
Yeah, they show the Pixar short films, some of them, and they kind of rotate, so it might not be the same this time as it was on your last trip.
Right.
And the theater even kind of rumbles.
Yes, that's true. They've got that technology in there from when the theater was built for Magic Journeys and then used for Captain EO and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, where the theater kind of moves around and vibrates and does all kinds of interesting stuff along with the show to add a little bit more of a physical element. That's a good time.
Yeah.
But most importantly for this list, you don't have to wait very long to get in there and watch the show. So that's cool.
What do you think about One Man's Dream? We didn't have this on the list, but I just thought of it, and I was wondering what your thoughts are.
One Man's Dream is also pretty guaranteed not to wait a long time to have to stick around and wait. One Man's Dream is not always running inside of Walt Disney Presents. Sometimes they swap it out for a movie preview of whatever the upcoming theatrical release Disney has on their schedule. So you're not always guaranteed to see the short documentary about Walt's life, but if you are in there and you're just kind of looking for something quick to do, then walking around.
I was just going to say, well, even just walking through the museum and skipping the show is good.
Yeah, checking out the exhibits. There are some really interesting models in there. Cool stuff from Disney Parks history. Very cool to walk around One Man's Dream.
Yeah, it's a very cool Disney history experience. I really like it.
Absolutely. There should be one of those in each park, I feel.
Yeah.
Would be very cool.
So everything else on the list is considered a ride.
I would say so, yes.
Yeah. I mean, one of my favorite no wait things is to grab a snack.
Oh, yeah.
Make the list.
Hey, sometimes these snacks really rack up a line, though.
That's true.
Yeah, sometimes you might wait longer for your cheeseburger spring roll than you might for a ride on some of these attractions.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying. We had a couple of snacks today that were practically no wait time, and there's nothing that rewards you more than getting that nice snack to satiate you. I love getting a snack. I also love, there are some rides on here that we have included in the honorable mentions portion of this list for various reasons. This first one is on here because it's going away, and that's Dinosaur.
Oh.
Unfortunately, Dinosaur will be closing in the near future to become an Indiana Jones themed attraction,
which I'm excited about, but we do love Dinosaur.
Yeah, it's one of our favorites, so it's hard, but yeah.
And generally, even if it says 15-20 minute wait, it's generally not true. You
Yeah.
kind of do a quick walk through the museum portion, and then you're in the pre-show. Then you're in a little bit of a line after that. But I don't think that I've ever gotten in line and actually taken as long as it said it would.
Yeah, I do.
Ever.
I think that's true. I also think it does a good job of making you not feel like you're waiting in a very long line by splitting up the queue experience halfway through with the pre-show.
Right.
That's a nice little way to make that feel shorter.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, Dinosaur definitely, as it currently stands, usually doesn't rack up that long of a wait time.
Once they announce the end date, it probably will.
I agree.
And by the time it airs, that could be information we know, but we're telling you what we know as of time of filming.
Yes.
Okay, so you mentioned Dinosaur. We also have the Liberty Square Riverboat on here.
Oh, can you believe that's on here because it's going away?
Yeah.
Oh.
It shocks me that it's going away. I can't really wrap my head around them filling in the river.
I know, it seems like a huge change.
Yeah.
It will be.
It will be. It's hard to imagine.
Right.
Yeah, this is something that we go on if all the rides have really long lines and we're in Magic Kingdom, but not very often. I definitely wouldn't say this is at the top of my list.
No, in fact, it's only an honorable mention.
Yeah.
And not only because it's going away, but also because it's not the most exciting thing in the world.
Right, and it can be like the mechanics of the boat can be so loud that you don't hear what's being said.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I will miss it aesthetically more than I'll miss actually being able to go on it.
I agree with that. I think it adds a very fun amount of energy to the Frontierland Liberty Square area.
Right.
So I will miss that. I will miss seeing the boat go by. As far as riding the boat, I don't ride it particularly often now.
Right. So I'm not sure I'll miss that aspect.
Right.
But I think I'll see pictures of when the river was there and get nostalgic.
I do too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been there our
entire
whole lives.
Yeah. Well, everybody.
Everybody's entire life.
Well, Walt Disney World's entire life.
Right.
Okay.
1971. All right. I also have on here an honorable mention, flat rides. I would also like to expand that, I guess, to children's rides as well. So things like Aladdin's Magic Carpets, Triceratops Spin. I think you said the Barnstormer when we were talking about this, which I think is fair because I've never seen it have a super high wait time.
Right.
Yeah, the exceptions to this would be like Dumbo.
I actually would include teacups in here.
Yeah. Okay. I totally agree.
Yeah. And that one.
Mad Tea Party in Fantasyland.
Right. That one's a little bit more than a kid ride. I mean, you can get going really, really fast on there, but
yeah.
Yeah.
One time, a friend and I took a spin on there, literally, and by the time that we got off of it, we had to sit down. Could not stand up. So yeah, you can really do some damage.
We went on as a family when my little sister was really little, and after like too little to tell her what to look at, like baby little, and when the ride stopped, her eyes kept going back and forth. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a really young baby do this, but it was wild.
Yeah, oh gosh.
It was one of the weirdest things I've seen in my entire life.
Disney brick, my baby.
Yeah.
All right. Are we ready to move into the list portion of the list?
Yeah.
All right. Let's get to the heavy hitters.
All right.
Let's start with our favorite heavy hitter. It's The Small World. Yeah.
You say that, but you love It's a Small World.
I do love It's a Small World. We almost never ride it. I can almost never convince anyone to ride it.
I will go on it with you.
We've ridden it together. Yeah. Morgan is one of the only people that will.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't like crave it. Like I crave some rides. Does that sound weird?
No, honestly, neither do I. I never really get like a strong like urge to go on the ride or anything. I just appreciate it from like an aesthetic point of view.
I was just about to say that. I really
it's just nice scenery.
Right. And when they come out with It's a Small World merch, I'm always like, oh my gosh, this is so cute. And then, I don't know.
Yeah, it's all about the style. And the reason that
the history.
And the history. It's got a fantastic history. And I will say, the reason, this is not like a numerated ranking or anything.
No.
But I would, if it were, this would be towards the bottom because sometimes this does actually accumulate over 30 minutes of wait. And in that situation, we wouldn't recommend necessarily riding it because it's not the original It's a Small World anyway. So if you're going for historical purposes, this isn't even really that. And if you're, I don't know,
It might be nostalgic for you,
yeah,
though.
I just think if this were over 30 minutes, if we're getting into a 40-minute wait, I just don't think I could justify spending that long on writing It's a Small World.
Right.
However, when it is a low wait time, which is most of the time, it's lower than that. It's fun to take a little cruise on the happiest cruise that ever sailed.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I like it. It's not an every time thing. It's a once in a while thing.
Something that helps though is that the queue is covered. You're not necessarily like all the way inside really because there's no like front wall to that building, but there is AC in there and you're out of the hot Florida sun. So those are all pluses.
Correct. I would recommend this over the carousel because a carousel you could do anywhere and the line is, outside in the heat.
That is the main
Not
reason
the Carousel of Progress. The carousel. Yeah. Okay.
That's the main reason I don't ride the Regal Carousel.
Yes, exactly. Because of the line.
Yeah, the outdoor line.
Right.
Who's doing that?
Right.
Not me.
I'll take the naming the next one because this is more of a me ride than a you ride. But
do it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Mission Space for a second.
Woo.
Now, Mission Space has two versions. The version that spins, that's more intense, and then the version that does not spin, less intense.
Right.
The more intense version can rack up a line, but a lot of times it doesn't. And the queue is pretty good. So if you're into the more intense version, then I would say if it's 20 minutes or less, that's great.
Yeah, that's lovely.
I think green, less intense version almost never has any kind of weight at all.
Right.
And I never went on it because I could handle the more intense version. So I figured, why would I want to do the other version? But we did it one time just to see what it was about. And it's a different experience.
Yeah.
And visually, it's very cool.
Yep.
It's not the same
film.
Yes, it's not the same storyline just with no spinning. It's a totally different storyline.
Yeah.
So definitely worth checking out at least once, and a really awesome no wait situation.
Totally agree. Isn't it so cool that they developed an entire new version of the attractions for people who didn't want to put up with the spinning?
Yeah.
As someone who was absolutely destroyed by the orange version of this attraction back in the day, and again, more recently.
Right.
The green team is the only version of this ride that I can do, so I really appreciate that it's no wait, and the thought of developing an individual experience specifically for the green side, all of that is
yes,
cool.
I think that they could have easily and cheap, just taken the same storyline and made it with no spinning, where you're just sitting there watching the film. And they didn't do that, and I have massive respect for that.
Woo, yeah, that is. I don't think we've ever talked about that on this show, but that's a really cool little touch.
Yeah.
That they put in that ride.
Very extra for them to do that, and I very much appreciate it.
Yeah, I love that.
You want to go on?
Oh yes, of course I do. This next one's Grand and Miraculous. It's Spaceship Earth. Toward the front of Epcot. At the very front of Epcot.
The ball ride.
The golf ball ride. This ride itself is long. So, for a ride. So the ride experience is long, but the wait time generally, not too bad.
No.
Yeah.
It can be, but this is one where you can, at least half the day on any given day, it's got pretty much a no wait. So if you're first coming into the park and you see that Spaceship Earth is running a 30-minute wait, I would come back and do it later.
Yeah, do a lap.
Right.
Take a lap.
Yeah, because this is one that, like I said, at least half the day it's pretty much no wait. So your timing was just bad. Just try again later.
We see a lot of 15 minutes for this, a lot of 5 minutes for this. All of those are great amount to wait for this. And of course, we love the attraction. Historic Epcot attraction.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely could do for an update.
Especially the end.
Definitely feels like it's falling apart when you ride it as well. Some would say that's part of the charm.
Okay.
But I do love this ride. It is also very relaxing. This
Mhm.
always makes our lists of like places to take a break, nap time, relaxation station. It's
Right.
always Spaceship Earth.
Uh-huh.
So, and I feel like that may be something you're looking for in a low wait time ride to begin with. So this one checks a bunch of boxes.
Yeah. Yeah. This is, if we were ranking, this would be towards the top of my list.
Yeah, Spaceship Earth is a slow moving ride through the air conditioning. And that's really what we're looking for. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Next on the list is Under the Sea, Journey of the Little Mermaid. This is one of my favorites. The Little Mermaid was my favorite movie when I was a little kid, so I was beyond thrilled when they made a ride for it. And for whatever reason, maybe location,
Mhm.
it's always pretty low.
Yeah.
It's in kind of a weird location, especially for people that might not be as familiar with the park.
Yeah, and it doesn't have a sign that really says "Stop everything, come ride the Little Mermaid ride."
Right.
You know, it
Right.
just doesn't. So
You have to be kind of going back there. You know what I mean? Um, I love it. It's also a continuously moving ride. It's a dark ride, which helps the
capacity.
capacity and how quickly you can get on it. So
Yeah,
this is one I wouldn't do it for more than 30 minutes because it's in need of some maintenance.
and most of the time you don't need to.
Yeah, you don't need to. You can walk on
Yeah,
most of the time.
under 20 minutes a lot of the time,
Right.
which is really nice because honestly, it is for only waiting that short amount of time. You do get like a full Disney dark ride experience out of it.
Right. Great songs. I mean, great animatronics when they're working. Yeah.
Yes. It's funny because it's not really in the same area as any of the other classic Disney dark rides. They're all in Fantasyland. I mean,
Right.
that's not true. Haunted Mansion and whatever. But, the storybook kind of
Uh-huh.
rides, it's not really over there. So maybe it's just not part of the feeling of that for people or whatever reason. But it definitely gives you that same vibe as riding one of those
Yeah.
Disney dark rides.
I think it's just a little hidden for I don't know, the flow of the park. Everything kind of is in that like spoke situation.
Yeah.
And this you've got to go around Mine Train to get to, and you pass a restaurant. And I could see people that aren't locals that aren't there every year not knowing that they need to keep going to find another ride.
Yeah.
So
I could
whatever.
definitely see that.
I think that this ride is more popular in Disney's California Adventure than it is at Walt Disney World.
Because
I
of the
think
location, you think?
because of the location.
That-
That's what
yeah.
I think. Yeah.
I could see that for sure. We need to ride this again. It's been a minute.
I know it has been a while.
All right, next up on the list is Star Tours.
Star
The adventures
Tours.
continue over at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Star Tours has a fantastic queue.
Yeah.
It is indoor, outdoor, and most of the time you don't
Mostly
need
indoor.
to wait for the outdoor
I haven't.
part.
When was the last time you were in the outdoor part of the waiting area? I feel like it's been over a decade for me.
Yeah, we did go on a really busy day, and I have been out there one time.
Really?
Yes, in the outdoor queue area. But really, truly, most of the time, you do not need to expose yourself to the elements like that because the wait time generally, like 20 minutes on a Hollywood Studios day, even a
I
fairly
don't-
busy Hollywood Studios day.
Yeah, 20 minutes is like the max I've seen it in a long time.
Yeah, and that's about all I would wait for it, to be honest.
Right, but the thing this has going for it especially is that the story can be different every time you go,
Yeah.
which makes it so that it's different,
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, you have new things to look forward to.
You don't get that really with anything else on our list.
That is very true. This is the only thing that will be totally, maybe not totally, but will be different every time that you ride it.
Yeah.
Which is very cool.
Yeah.
And Star Tours is a good ride. It's a motion simulator.
Mhm.
It's exciting. It's gives you a little bit of thrill. Definitely like immersive. The queue is very cool, very AC. Very AC, very air conditioned. And there's a lot to look at. I feel like queue comfort is nice to have when you're talking about these rides. Although honestly, most of the time you do kind of just glide through the first little bit of the queue because it never really has that long of a wait.
Yeah.
Do you think Star Tours does not amass a large wait time anymore because of Galaxy's Edge?
I think that it was dwindling before Galaxy's
It's
Edge.
true.
Yeah, I think that probably it's not as exciting to people anymore.
Yeah.
So that's sad. And they keep trying with making, new stories, adding new characters and stuff like that. And I still like it, but a lot of what I like about it is the
Yeah.
nostalgia of it. That's true of a lot of these. They're low wait time because people aren't excited about it,
Mm.
but they still have the nostalgia effect for those of us who are Disney super fans, who grew up with Disney, who want to relive their childhood.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it does a good job of that. I mean, to be fair, this ride has been around since 1989. That's a long time.
Right.
It did get a huge refresh in 2011 when it
Mhm.
became Star Tours: The Adventures Continue. So it did get some new life breathed into it there, but it has definitely still been slugging on for many years, and that's something that we've come to appreciate about Star Tours
Right.
more than a hindrance for us. We recommend people ride it
Hmm.
unless you're motion sick, because that is the one thing that it seems like
Right.
unites all motion sick people who are motion sick on some things but not other things. A lot of people can't ride Star Tours.
But not you. You're good with that.
Not me. Yeah, that's very true actually. I just said unites all the motion sick people. I am a motion sick person and I absolutely can ride Star Tours, so I guess not all the motion sick people.
But it does get a large amount of people.
I
You're
think
right.
maybe it has to do with the ride vehicle as well, because you're a little bit more. You're in an enclosed space.
Mm.
Which maybe makes it worse. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, famously. All right, Morgan, punch it.
All right. Next, we are talking about the Walt Disney World Railroad
Choo choo.
in Magic Kingdom.
Yes.
This is something that we do.
Yeah.
So it's just a nice, breezy. I don't know if I'd say relaxing at this point. It's a little. I think we're getting used to smoothness from rides that you don't find in the older rides. But
Yeah, that's true.
but it's fun. It's nostalgic. It gets you from point A to point B, if nothing else.
Absolutely.
There are multiple stops that you could get off at. There are cool things to see. Now we don't know if this is going to close down again for any amount of time when construction starts on all of the new stuff coming to the back half of Magic Kingdom.
I say 4 months.
You think it'll close for 4 months?
Yeah, that's my bet.
That's not bad.
Not
How long did
compared
we?
2-3 years.
Right.
2, 3. More than that?
I don't know.
I think more
it
than
was
that.
a long time.
Yeah, a long time.
When Tron was being built.
Yeah. Tron Light Cycle Run shut down the train because they had to reroute the entire Tomorrowland section of the railroad. So hey,
which sounds like nothing compared to filling in a river.
Yeah, right. I guess probably they were directing less resources to the train than they were to building the new roller coaster. Is my guess for why it took so long. Now,
does the train go over the river or just next to the river?
Does the train go over the river?
I think it just goes next to it.
I think it just goes next to the river. I think the river is within the bounds of the train.
Okay. I know some of what you see is riverside, so
yeah,
and I won't miss that stuff. Hopefully they'll put in other, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There were like some static figures of, I don't know, indigenous
villages.
Yeah. Right.
Yes, I think all of that is going. I would have to imagine that all of that is going.
Yeah, that felt very in the same vein as
1971.
Yes,
is what that felt like.
At most.
At most.
Like the technology in 1971 wasn't so horrific because we got a lot of good rides out of it. I'm surprised this was put in to begin with. And I say that also about the stuff on Tom Sawyer's Island. When I've gone over to Tom Sawyer's Island and looked at what they call animatronics and the figures that they have in certain areas, I'm like, this feels older than 1971.
Yes. Was this the first one? The first animatronic
right ever made?
It can move its arm sometimes. Is basically what's going on over there. Yeah, all of that going away does not surprise me. However, I do have to say, like Tom Sawyer's Island specifically, I do think the Walt Disney Railroad has to be one of the more underrated
I agree.
attractions because the wait time is low and because, like you were saying, the ride is enjoyable, but it also Magic Kingdom is a beast of a theme park.
Mhm.
So we don't even think about it really anymore. But for first time visitors, there's a lot of ground to cover.
Mhm.
And people who are also coming for the first time, this is a very common thing to do. We'll just book whatever Disney Genie Plus will recommend to them, or they don't know really where things are, so they make dining reservations all over the place. So they do a lot of walking
Yes.
from one end of the park to the other. Do you know what I'm
Back
talking
and
about?
forth and back and
Have you seen
forth.
people do
Oh,
this?
yes, yes.
Yeah, we
Well,
don't roll like
actually,
that, really.
yeah,
But
but when you have Genie Plus or now MultiPass,
this is true.
you don't have that much of a choice.
You have to be a little flexible.
Right.
Yes.
And the day I did one day in Disneyland last year, or was it the
Uh-huh.
year before? And we even were going back and forth between Disney's California Adventure and Disneyland over and over and over again because at that time it was Genie Plus. I would be able to find something amazing, you know, a Haunted Mansion Holiday, and then the next thing I would be able to get would be Incredicoaster, and then the next thing I could get would be Matterhorn, and then the next thing I could get would be Guardians. You know what I mean? And it was
Right.
just you have to take what you can get sometimes in those situations. If you've got a list of if we want to do all these things,
Yes.
and you
Now,
don't even have a choice.
when they say park hopping, that's what they really
Oh my
mean.
gosh!
That is park leaping, park bounding,
Yes,
park
and
all kinds of
our
things.
feet hurt at the end of the day, and it was crazy. If you have more time to not make it like that, then yes, take the railroad.
Well, what I was gonna say though was that even if you are in one of these situations where you have your virtual queue for Tiana's Bayou Adventure coming up, but you are, you just rode, I don't know, Dumbo. At least you've got an option. You hop on the Storybook Circus stop of the railroad, and it takes you right to Big Thunder Mountain. You
Right.
get off, and you're at
You're
Tiana's
there.
Bayou Adventure.
Right.
And if you need,
It can be slow though.
can be a little on the slow side.
Right. If you have to
So-
wait for the train, it has to work with your timing too. But
Yep, it's true. But it's a way to get you off your feet,
yes,
which is good. It is not air conditioned, but the breeze
but it's breezy.
is cool,
Yeah.
and it's covered. It's got a covered
Right.
top. So
and riding it just for pleasure and not transportation is fun. And I also think like the steamboat, the look and sound of it is something that I want to never leave the park.
agreed.
I just missed the train sound when it
Yeah.
wasn't around when Tron was being built.
Trains are, obviously we on this show have covered that trains were a huge part of Walt Disney's life.
Uh-huh.
Even having a miniature train in his own backyard, the Carolwood Pacific Railway, having a planned train attraction on the lot of the Disney Animation Studio, which grew into Mickey Mouse Park, the concept, which eventually became Disneyland. Trains are at the heart of the history of Disney
Right.
in general. So it's not only cool historically, but also, like you were saying, the train whistle itself is nostalgic. The sound of the train chugging along the tracks, it takes you to that old school, magical, transportive
Right. It's
Disney
one of
place.
it's one of the Magic Kingdom sounds that's just part of it.
Yes,
Right.
totally agree. Totally agree. I love the railroad. I love that it's on this list, and I love that the wait is usually pretty short.
Hmm. Usually it's just about waiting till the train arrives.
Yeah.
Like with the shows we mentioned, it's not that they're going to you know what I mean? They're not going to fill the theater. You just have to wait till the next one.
Right.
Generally, of course, we can't speak to like Thanksgiving Day or Christmas Day or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
There are a few days out of the year where that stuff might happen, but we're talking about most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time you can kind of hop on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next on the list, we have, a favorite of ours, the Grand Fiesta Tour, starring the Three Caballeros. Morgan's laughing.
Yeah.
What, you don't love this?
I want it to be Coco.
Yeah, you and everybody else.
Is
I would be happy with it being Coco too, but for now it's this.
this nostalgic for you?
Wait, I honestly did not really do this much as a
I
child.
didn't do this as a child either
So,
because I don't
no.
even think my parents liked it. Yeah.
And when we were kids, it didn't have animatronics in it. It didn't have the,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
See?
those
I didn't
were
know that.
those were imported from Disneyland. So they're not even.
Where were they in Disneyland?
Oh, I knew you were gonna ask
Oh, I'm
me.
sorry.
No, it's okay. I actually think they were part of a show called. I think this is the case that they were a part of a show called America Sings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to look it up? Did that make you feel better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Either America Sings or maybe the Mickey Mouse Review. No, America Sings, I'm pretty sure. They were animatronics that were part of a live animatronic stage show. That show went defunct, and they ended up shipping them back over here for inclusion in our ride, which is very thoughtful of them. Very glad they did. They're the only animatronics on the ride. The entire rest of the ride is just screens. I have to say, this is the reason Morgan laughed when I said that this is one of our favorite rides is because this ride actually is, as far as Disney rides go, it's not the most impressive package, is it?
I don't love it. Jake does make me go on this every once in a while. But yeah, I'm not that impressed with it.
In truth, my favorite part of the ride
When
is
I'm on it, I'm thinking about how to turn it into Coco.
Yeah, the mind does race. We'll be wondering how to turn it into Coco. My favorite part of this ride actually is that it is so much a part of the
This says they were originally part of the opening day Magic Kingdom attraction Mickey Mouse Review.
Okay, yes. Okay, it was the Mickey Mouse Review. I knew it was one of those
And then
two.
they were sent to Tokyo Disneyland in '83.
Right.
Wait, can that be right? Because it says they.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and then they returned to the Epcot ride. Oh my gosh, these guys have been everywhere.
Yes, they were on a world tour, Morgan.
Good for them.
Yeah, that's amazing. The Mickey Mouse Review was an opening day Magic Kingdom attraction that sits in the theater where currently PhilharMagic plays.
Right.
That show was closed, but there was
in 1980 it closed.
right in time for the opening of the Mickey Mouse Review that opened in Tokyo Disneyland.
Okay.
And then once that expired, they decided it was time to replace it. They shipped them right back to us, which is honestly beautiful.
Crazy though.
Crazy, but I love the history of them.
Okay,
and
yeah.
It makes me very sad when they're broken, but they were recently refurbished as well.
But now at least I can understand. I could be like, you guys have been through a lot.
Yes. And also, I love to say every time we talk about this ride, the figures in the Mexican City portion of the ride are Mary Blair originals.
Mhm.
She worked on the styling and creation of them. And they're the only Mary Blair original things we have in the actual parks, I want to say, that she like touched with her own hands.
Really?
Yeah, because I think
Even the contemporary?
that's not in the park. That's
Oh.
I was thinking, yes, that's in the resort, but in the actual park, I don't know if there's anything
Tricky,
else other than those.
tricky. So not Small World because it's a duplicate.
Because
Is that
it's
what
a
you're saying?
duplicate, yeah.
Okay.
Now, I do think Mark and Alice Davis, at least Alice Davis, actually did work on the dressings of these, and she was the one who originally created the costumes for all of the characters. So there is some historical cool stuff with that. But as far as Mary Blair stuff goes, this is a historically significant ride in terms of those figures, at least. So it's cool to see them there.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying my favorite part of this ride is actually just that it's part of the Mexico Pavilion in a really cool way, where they've got this big Mexican pyramid, Aztec pyramid, in the back of the pavilion, set up against the scrim of a night sky, and the boat is traveling a river right in front of the pyramid, which is also the view of the restaurant in
Right,
there.
which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, all of that together makes her a very cool package. And when you're on the boat in the beginning of the ride and you're gliding through the pavilion in the water and you're looking up at the pyramid and the restaurant, it's a very cool feeling. And then it turns into a bad screen ride for most of it. So, you take that for what it is. But I will say, the wait time?
Yeah, always low.
Usually pretty low.
If it's not, I don't know what's happening. You
Yeah.
should probably go to a different park.
We've been in there when that line has been long.
Yeah.
And we're like, huh?
Yeah.
That
What's
doesn't make any
happening?
sense. Yeah. I don't know how much longer they have left in there. The Three Caballeros.
Yeah.
It seems like that's a very dated property that Disney does not celebrate very much anymore. So I would definitely think it's on its way out. But
Right.
while it's here, the wait time is low, low, low.
Right. You know what would have been, I don't know if this counts, but I also enjoy Club Cool.
Club Cool.
Yeah, for a no wait.
Tell the people about Club Cool.
So Club Cool is Coca-Cola's little place where you can go in and sample some soft drinks from around the world.
Uh-huh.
And you, for free, you get there are little cups, there are little fountains, not little, normal sized fountains, and you can try a bunch of sodas.
Where is this?
This is right next to Connections and right next to Creations
Shop.
Yeah, so right there in the middle.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is an Epcot fave
Mhm.
for us. Always has been.
Right.
When we were kids, this was Ice Station Cool. Which is the most 90s, 2000s name of all time. But it was in that, it was in a cave, like an ice cave for a little while. Very fun. And then it became Club Cool, over next to the Fountain of Nations and the Starbucks Fountain View over there in Epcot. Epcot got this big, huge refresh, and everyone was like, oh no, Club Cool, it's going away. But then they announced it's just moving next to the Creation Shop, which is the new main Epcot gift shop. So we're glad that it still exists.
Right.
The floor is still sticky, just as sticky as it was in the 2000s.
Not as sticky.
Maybe not.
No,
it was.
It was
it
bad.
was really bad.
Yeah,
it was like a
wasn't
movie
fixable.
theater.
Yeah, or yeah.
You know the type of movie theater.
Yeah, you hear your shoes sticking in there. Now, if you go early enough, they have. I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, they've mopped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but I don't think it was even moppable back in the day.
No.
You know, like
the mop would just get stuck. You know,
Yeah.
You couldn't get the mop off the floor.
Right.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Club Cool, because not only is it usually, sometimes you wait in there for like 5 minutes for everybody to get out of the way.
Maybe, yeah.
But most of the time you kind of just breeze in, enjoy the AC,
yeah,
get a drink.
Grab your drinks and get out of the way so other people can get drinks.
What do you think about Beverly?
Oh, I don't
How
like
have we
it.
never talked about this?
I don't know. So Beverly is the one that people comically make other people try to punk them because it's so bad. Yeah, I don't like it.
It's an aperitif. It's an Italian, fizzing.
I think it tastes like it has alcohol in it, but it doesn't.
Yeah, it does have a weird kind of taste to it. But the whole point of it is that you're supposed to sip it lightly in between courses of your meal to clear your palate. But nobody does that. They take a shot of it from the fountain and they're like, ew, it's gross.
It's kind of bitter.
It does.
Yeah, it tastes like alcohol.
I never drink it voluntarily.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
I tried it once and that was that.
The other memorable one for me in there is they've got a soda that tastes exactly like barbecue sauce.
Yes.
Exactly like barbecue sauce.
What is that? Is that the Korean one?
I think so.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's got like a red label.
Yeah. You guys should try it. It's barbecue sauce. It's weird. It's like liquid barbecue sauce.
You should try it once, just for the experience. They did not have that when we were kids. That's only in the new Club Cool, but I'm glad you brought up Club Cool.
And I like mixing the cucumber Sprite option with other fruity options.
Okay.
And doing like a little half.
Like that watermelon one,
Yep.
watermelon and cucumber.
There's also a raspberry one. Yeah. They're nice. They're nice. It cuts the intense sweetness of the just fruity ones.
Okay. I'm gonna have to try that. That sounds nice.
Yeah, I've got hacks.
Come to Club Cool with Morgan. She'll hook you up. She knows what she's doing. All right. You ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right. I've got Journey into Imagination on here.
Interesting. Just kidding. This is another one Jake likes to take us on.
Low wait time.
Low wait time.
Low wait time. And really, that's all it takes to get on this list.
Do not wait for more than 10 minutes for this.
Don't wait.
Okay. There are parts of it that are cute, you know?
There are parts of it that are cute. I'm not saying this is a great ride. I think if you've listened to our podcast, you know exactly how we feel about this. It is definitely pales in comparison to the ride that used to be in the same location. However, it is air conditioned. I love this baseline.
There are parts that are cute. I just can't with the bad smells.
Right. That is tough. Somebody comment if you know about this. Somebody I was reading something that said that Imagineering uses the scent of coffee to simulate like bad smell scent.
Yeah, I
like
disagree with
the
this.
skunk scent or whatever. So
We'll have to go on it again soon and see what, like think about that when we're smelling it. But I smell coffee every morning and I don't think of Figment.
yeah, well, neither do I.
And I like the smell of coffee. I think most people do.
Uh-huh. So I would like to hear people weigh in
Yeah.
and see if they
What do
know
you
anything
think they
about that.
use to make the smell?
Yeah.
They say it's supposed to be skunk.
Skunk.
Ugh.
Hardly ever really a wait time for this ride.
Right.
Um,
But a little deservedly.
very much so. Very much so. Unfortunately, definitely one of the attractions in Epcot that I'd probably recommend the least.
Mhm.
But the wait time is really short. So if you're looking to fill,
Yeah.
I don't know, about 20, 30 minutes. Not even that.
No.
If you're looking to fill maybe 20 minutes,
Yeah.
then you walk through the queue for a couple and then you get on the ride and then you're done.
Yeah. I would recommend this over Grand Fiesta, to be honest.
This does have a great song.
Yeah. And there are cute parts.
There are cute parts.
And you don't see Figment anywhere else except for like on merch and stuff like that. So
yeah, or in a meet and greet. But
Well.
Morgan thinks that meet and greet is
terrifying.
terrifying. He is a little scary looking. At the very least, he's suspect.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not Figment.
The next one is one of my favorites for a lot of reasons, and that is the Seas with Nemo and Friends.
Yeah.
For me, this is very nostalgic. My teenager was a big fan of Nemo, a long time ago. so
not all that long ago.
this is nostalgic for me.
Oh.
It's a dark ride. It's a kind of a storybook ride.
Yes.
I like it. It makes me happy.
There are some things I absolutely love about this ride.
Mhm.
The first being the queue. Not only so immersive, so cute. You start on this like beachy scene and then you go kind of underwater. But also so cool, like ice cold.
Yeah.
On your hot summer days, which is always great.
Uh-huh.
They simulate sea breeze in there, which also helps to cool you down a little bit.
Right.
I will say, I've never waited more than like 10 minutes for this.
Same.
Never in my life.
Well, not in a long time.
Well, yeah, maybe when it
Right.
way back when it opened, maybe.
Right.
But in latter years, I have not waited for this. And the ride
And
itself,
it's so cute.
it's a casual, cute little ride.
Right.
And
My
there's
only issue, again, the same as Little Mermaid, is I wish maintenance would keep up with the.
Yeah.
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 Occasionally, there's an animatronic that's broken or something like that, and it just takes away from the story. But
Yeah.
other than that, it's a cute, cool ride. And
Yeah.
I mean, cool like in cold.
No, the actual ride part of the ride is kind of warm, actually. But the queue is very.
You think it's warm?
Yeah, when I'm in that tunnel scene where Crush is
Mhm.
taking you through the
EAC.
the current, it's hot in there.
Oh,
I don't
I haven't
know-
noticed that.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because there's so many people in like a crammed little thing, but I always notice that I get warm in there.
Hmm.
I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I'm a chunky human, so sometimes we be running a little bit hot, you know? There are
You're
things
so funny.
that is right before one of my favorite parts of the ride, though, which is the ride is housed in the Living Seas Pavilion, which is one of the largest aquariums in the United States.
Hmm.
And what's really cool is that at the end of the ride, there are windows into the aquarium, and they've projected characters from the film into the ocean-like setting,
Yeah.
into the tank, which is
So cute.
really, really cute.
Mhm.
I love that. They also
And they're singing the song. Yeah.
Yes.
Is that what you're going to say? Go ahead.
Absolutely, I love that. Morgan and I were just at Animal Kingdom. We got rained on. It's okay. We'll be fine. Thank you for your sympathies. We were in the Animal Kingdom, and we had a wild time.
We did.
One of the things that we did was watch the Finding Nemo musical for the first time in a long time.
Hmm.
And they've got that Big Blue World song in there.
I love that song.
Gorgeous song, beautiful piece of music. I think it perfectly encapsulates the feeling of watching Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
And they've incorporated that song, which was written for the Animal Kingdom show, into this Epcot ride.
Yeah.
What fun Disney parks storytelling going on there.
Yeah,
Weird. They don't really do that very often.
right.
So that's
It
cool.
makes sense though.
Yeah, I love that song.
I do too. I honestly was surprised when you told me that song wasn't anywhere in the movie.
Yeah.
I assumed it was in the credits, like the post credit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I love the song.
Yeah, great song. You can thank the creators of Frozen for that masterpiece, because that was their first Disney job, was writing Finding Nemo the musical.
Amazing.
Yes. All right, Morgan.
Oh.
We've reached the pinnacle of low weight wonders here.
Right. So this last one is Living with the Land, although I will say my favorite time to go on Living with the Land is at Christmas, but the wait time isn't low.
Right.
So it doesn't really fit into this.
Not the Christmas version.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer, because that is by far the most
best.
enjoyable way to ride the ride.
Right, right.
Adds a whole new layer.
So you can talk
fun.
about the ride.
And you'll talk about Christmas.
Oh, yeah. When we get to the Christmas episode.
Who doesn't love Living with the Land? There's
A lot of people, I
there's,
think.
there's got to be someone, but me, just kidding. Yeah, this is one of the lower wait time things. People I just think they're not prioritizing it.
Sure, it's not a thrill ride.
Yeah, it is very educational.
Mhm.
It's
slow.
It is barely any fun. Can I say that?
I guess.
Isn't it true though?
Yes.
You don't really have fun when you're riding it. That's really not part of it.
Right.
Which is weird to say about a Disney ride.
That you like a lot.
That I love. But like, it's true that it's not very fun.
Yeah.
But there is something so pure about it that it keeps me coming back to it every time.
Right.
Listen with the Land was the title of this. Not that anyone cares. When it originally opened, changed slightly, dropped its theme song to Living with the Land.
Stopped having actual people narrating.
Yes, so when we were kids, there was somebody on your boat that
Right,
would narrate
right.
kind of your journey through this. That is not the case
But not
anymore.
funny. You know, not like...
It wasn't like a fun, like, Jungle Cruise.
No, we
great
don't want you to
movie
think
ride.
it used to be fun.
No.
Okay.
It was always boring. It continues
Yeah.
to be boring. I say that with love.
Yes, I do think boring is probably what a lot of people think about it.
Yes. The queue is, like we said, generally low. It is a very strange queue because it doesn't really feel like a Disney queue.
I know.
It's got quotes on the walls.
It kind of doesn't seem like they thought anybody would go on this ride.
Honestly, that is the feeling. It feels like something that would be in a children's museum or something,
Right.
more so than a Walt Disney World park, because it is a tour of the agricultural growing systems that are utilized in Epcot in order to creatively grow all of these plants and vegetation that are used then in restaurants throughout Walt Disney World.
It's a bit of a flex, I guess.
It is a flex. That's all it is, actually.
They're like, look at what we do. We're so good for the environment.
Literally, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
And that is very, very,
right.
very fun. Way to go. Some things you might see on this ride are plants arranged to spell out words.
Mhm.
They like to do that. Or symbols. Do you know what part I'm talking about?
No.
They're growing cabbage and the beds of cabbage. There are purple cabbage and green cabbage, and they arrange them to be like a 50 when it's the 50th,
okay.
or a Mickey head, or...
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
You said words.
Because sometimes they're words. Sometimes
like
they are
full
words.
Okay, that's yes.
One time it said Epcot. I was
Really?
there for that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's fun. Also, you can see fish in tanks. A lot of fun. You can see plants growing.
The fish looks sad. I don't like that part.
I don't like that part either. Feels not like an aquarium and a lot like the lobster tank. at
Yes.
Red Lobster.
Yes, that's what it feels like. You nailed it. Yeah.
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 Oof, yeesh. However, there are vegetables grown to look like Mickey Mouse
I love that.
in the shape of his head.
They don't mind.
They don't mind. They would rather be Mickey shaped, if anything.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want to be a fun vegetable?
Absolutely. I used to
Yes.
love getting the Mickey-shaped cucumbers at the Garden Grill that were grown down there. That doesn't happen anymore. I don't know if it was too overwhelming to have to do that many.
I don't know. Yeah.
That was fun. Those fun times.
That is cool. Living with the Land is also part dark ride, I guess we should say, because that's an important part of this, is that it's like a hybrid, where in the beginning it's a dark ride that is educating you about the different type of natural habitats all throughout the United States, the prairie, the rainforest.
Dark ride is generous.
Well, yeah. Well, it is. It's a dark. It's a
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
You're in the dark.
All right.
There, especially that rainforest scene where they've got the animatronic alligators and all that kind of stuff. That's classic dark ride stuff.
Animatronic. Does he move?
I think one of them moves
Really?
a little bit, or maybe they just bob in and out of the water or something. But
Yeah, maybe
they
the
don't
water
work
just
anymore.
moves. I don't think they move.
Yeah, maybe.
Because Bailey always makes fun of me because I don't see it,
oh, really?
the gator, until we're like right there.
It's gonna
But
get
if
you.
it were moving, I'd see it.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. There are little animatronics though.
Bailey
like-
says I wouldn't survive in the wild.
Yeah, big talk from Bailey. I don't think any of us would survive in the wild.
Yeah, true.
But there are little animatronics. Like there are prairie dogs that pop in and out. There's a dog that wags its tail.
There
and
might
barks.
be a chicken that does something.
There might be. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, there's a chicken that does a little something.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got your little taste of a dark ride, and then it becomes like a tour of their agricultural
flex
facility.
Yeah.
That's the. That is the flex part.
I never thought about it like that until we were having this conversation, but now I'm never going to be able to go back.
It is. It's like a look how great we are
Yeah.
for the environment type of situation. I have never
What are
thought
you
about it.
doing for the environment?
You know what's really like that too? They offer something called the behind the scenes tour.
Oh yeah,
here.
Jake did that.
Yeah.
All right, tell us.
You pay a little bit of money.
And there's no wait, but but you have to pay for the tour. All right, go. I just roped it into our theme. Okay, go on.
I love that loose little like incorporation. Yeah, they take you on a little tour of the facilities, and they show you some films. They give you an up close view of some of the plants that you see from the boat. They feed you a cucumber.
A Mickey cucumber?
That
That's
they
how
grew
you get
there.
it now?
No, it's not even a Mickey one. It's
What?
just a cucumber in a cup. Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah. Well,
You paid all this money and you didn't get a Mickey cucumber slice?
I think it's like $17.
I don't care. $17. Okay,
You're
go
appalled. You're appalled.
on. I am.
It was nice. I want to say like 40 minutes long, and it really, you are led by like an expert. You're led by someone
Right.
who really knows like what
This
they're
is
looking at.
like edutainment. It's not even this is just educational.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is strictly education.
Like you're on a field trip.
It definitely has field trip vibes,
Okay.
I will say. But honestly, it is nice to interrupt your day of like, fun experiences with something not fun at all. No, I'm just kidding. With something that really is like informational in a way that Epcot is not very often anymore.
Right.
Epcot
And
has
I'm
lost a lot of
sure it's interesting and
It is.
you get to see the boats going by, right? Because
Yeah.
you walk through all of it. I see the people doing the tour and I'm like, hey.
Yes.
And you've got an experience that most other people don't, which I think is very cool.
It is really cool, and you get to walk through a Disney ride.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that before? It's
Right,
fun. Yeah.
right.
Unless you've been evacuated off
Right.
of
I was
them.
going to say only when they've broken down.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Write this down. Podcast. I'm just kidding. Podcast idea. In show exit. We should talk about
In
that.
show.
That's just what they call an evacuation.
Oh, really?
Yes, I love that.
They call it that on everything
Well, that's just
Yeah,
That's
that's
what Disney
code
calls it. Yeah.
for Okay, I didn't know that.
We should talk about that at some point because that can be interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
We've had some interesting experiences, but let's not talk about it now.
no, let's talk about living with the land. Well, I think we've actually said basically all there is to say.
We've covered it.
We love living with the land. 'cause-
And you liked your behind the scenes tour.
and I liked my behind the scenes tour. It was fun. I would do it again for sure.
And there's a pass holder discount, you guys, just so you know.
Oh my gosh, that's true. If you're a pass holder and you want to be on the other side of the boat, the other side of the sand that you're not allowed to walk on,
Uh-huh.
then yeah, I definitely recommend it. And honestly, I recommend everyone riding Living with the Land once at some point. Maybe not your first trip if you're super, booked and you've got
if
a
you're
lot
going
going
just for a
on.
few days, no.
I get it.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to fill time or you're looking to make me happy, send us a selfie of you riding Living with the Land.
Uh-huh.
Because I love it. All right.
Oh man, is that all of them?
That's going to round out our list. There is
Yeah.
other stuff in the park that's low wait time, but these are honestly the things that we think you might also maybe enjoy riding
Yeah.
in addition to waiting. practically no time. If you have other things that you like to ride that you found you very rarely
Yeah,
experience
if we
a wait
forgot
for,
anything.
yeah,
Yeah.
let us know in the comments of the YouTube video or over on Instagram or TikTok. We are at Neverland
What a
Navco.
segue.
Thank you.
Wow.
At Neverland Navco, we post all kinds of stuff there. We recently tried some gumbo that was absolutely disgusting on
This
that
is going to
TikTok.
air way after that was posted. You're going to have to go back. So
You're
go to
right.
Instagram and go back through our stuff. It was so gross.
That
You
was
have to
gross.
see it, though,
It
which
was,
you can only see it on Instagram because it was slimy.
Oh man. Oh, I'm just getting shivers thinking about eating it again.
Yeah.
But we post all kinds of stuff: food, trivia,
Not just disgusting
shopping, not
snacks
just
we
slimy gumbo content. That's
That
not
was
all.
just so shocking we had to post it.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah, had no choice. Yeah, we would love to continue the conversation over on social media with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, we have an Etsy shop called Neverland Navigation on Etsy. We do custom shirts and dish towels. I can do dog bandanas.
Yes.
Just, you would want to go to Etsy Neverland Navigation and then send me a message telling me what you love, what's your favorite attraction. Tell me you love Living with the Land. I will make you a Living with the Land shirt. I'll do it. I'll make one for your dog.
Until you and your dog are wearing matching, only then will you be living with the land.
I should do dish towels with the Mickey cucumber.
Ooh,
anyway.
An apron with the Mickey cucumber? Now we're talking.
So, also, you can get free shirts from this Etsy shop if you email me and let me help you book your next vacation. Email me at neverlandnavigationco@gmail.com.
And what kind of vacations do you provide your expertise in?
Pretty much all of them.
Oh.
Yeah, I love doing cruises. Obviously, I love doing Disney anything. I do Universal trips. And, I mean, a lot of other stuff. I'm doing a Vegas one right now.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing like getting some free benefits from taking the trip you were going to take anyway.
Yeah, if you're going to do it anyway, it doesn't cost you any extra. And you get free shirts. And you support us.
Woo! Yeah, what's not to love about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely Morgan Jones for your travel needs, Neverland Navigation, Etsy shop for all of your print services needs.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, hey, I think that's about it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's no time left to wait in the queue.
That didn't work.
That was a tough one. We've got to ride Living with the Land. We'll see you on our next adventure. Goodbye.
Bye.